We mentioned last time that Rav Aharon this is Rav Aharon color number 8, how he was a Mali with achrayus, Mali with responsibility, and how he dealt with so many different battles. And I think this is summed up in a statement by Rav Zelig Epstein, who was himself a great Rosh Hashiva, the Rosh Hashiva of Shara Torah. And this was at a yahrzeit gathering in Lakewood in 1978. So Rav Zelig related there are different types of Gedolim. Some Gedolim are very involved in Tzarchei Tzibur, the needs of the Klal. And generally don't have much time for individuals. And in turn, others focus mostly on helping individuals. Some Hasidic rabbis. And in turn, they are usually not Klal people, not involved in the big picture. Rav Aharon was different. He worked constantly for Klal Yisrael, yet at the same time house was always open to anyone that needed help. I personally had occasion in his last years to be in his home a number of times for hours on end. It was a wonderful, outstanding experience. I felt so enveloped by his tremendous warmth and love, his beautiful smile. Those who saw it remembered his pashtus, his simplicity. I felt as if I was not in this world when I was with Rav Aharon. I felt as if he drew me after him into his world, a higher world. I look back at those times as some of the shaints the shows, the most beautiful hours of my life, the tanug, the pleasure. And this he did without letting up for a moment his dveikus, his cleavage to Torah. He was always steeped in learning, always a Rosh Hashiva. And he inspired you to learn. It's hard for someone to believe this today, but it's a fact that if you saw him, you wanted to run to learn Torah. Unbelievable. You felt ashamed to be what you were when you saw what a person can truly become. I once came home from meeting with him and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, but I couldn't bring myself to go to sleep. I couldn't just go down to sleep after such an encounter, so I sat down to learn. That's Zelig. Another aspect of his leadership, we'll focus on the remaining time today, is the fact that as a leader, he brought others in. Some people say, I'm a leader. What does it mean I'm a leader? I have my followers. Rav Aharon was a leader's leader. You know, it's well known in Eretz Yisrael that the Beis Yaakovs are full of Slonomer Chasidot, Slonomer teachers. And I'm not sure if this is why, but I know that the Nesiv Shalom, the famed Sefer Nesiv Shalom, was drawn into Chinuch Atzmai. Who drew him in? Rav Aharon Kala. He banged on the table one time and he said, this is the battleground. You, our main battleground, you have to be in the battleground. And that's how the Slonomer Rebbe got involved in Chinuch Atzmai. The Kapishnitzer Rebbe, another Rebbe, used to say, Rav Aharon, I'm your soldier. And it wasn't just Rebbes, it was lay leaders also. Rabbi Isaac Wolfson, a famous philanthropist from England, once was at a dedication at a place called Steichem. They created a Kfar Yiladim, a place for children. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And Rav Lawrence, who we've quoted before, was there, and he heard Rav Wolfson's speech. Rav Aharon, I think it had passed away already. And he said, what was he doing here? And Mr. Wolfson, when he got up to explain the great the great gift he had given to start this area, this home, said that the one who got involved was Rav Aharon Kala. And it's amazing how he said it. He said the Rishi was trying to reach me and wanted to set an appointment with me in England. I knew he wanted money, so I didn't want to go. But he said, just give me 5 minutes. Okay, so I could say 5 minutes. I could say during the meeting, he relates his exact words, I was so taken aback by who he was. We schmoozed and talked for 2 hours. Right? I had such enjoyment. Every minute with Rav Aharon was so pleasurable, so enjoyable. I was there. And finally I said to him, I'm sure, it's so enjoyable to hear your wondrous things, but you for sure need money for your yeshiva. What was Rav Aharon's response? Listen to this. He says, I don't want a cent for my yeshiva. I says, so what'd you come for? He says, I want you to know that you're someone should give money to most Torah and to yeshivas. That was it. Not about his yeshiva, but you should know. And Mr. Wolfson related that he hadn't fulfilled that promise that he gave to Rav Aharon then, and now he's giving money to this Kfar Noar, and he's fulfilling his promise to Rav Aharon. So he brought Mr. Wolfson in. But listen to this. During the time when he was creating Chinuch Atzmai, as we said it last time, he drew on Stephen Klein, a famous philanthropist from America, and he started talking about it. And he spoke to me in a shaking voice. Hear me well. They're going to steal our children. In Israel, they got rid of our educational system, and we're all in danger now, right? And he says, we have to make a mamatz to start our own system called Chinuch Atzmai, and we need tremendous amount of money. And he said he couldn't continue speaking Tears were coming out of his eyes. He said, this is the time. Everything's in danger. Everything we built, our Talmud Torahs, the Bate Yaakov, we could lose our whole individual, special, ruchani where we are. So Mr. Klein said, for sure he couldn't say no to him after such a speech, and he became the Yosef Rosh, the head of Chinuch Atzmai in America. And he relates the last time he met Rav Aharon, years later after cancer he was crumpled in his bed, on his deathbed, and he turned to him and he said, the only thing I saw were his eyes till his stricken body, those pure, clean eyes that grabbed every Jewish heart. They also grabbed me, and he pushed to turn his head, and he spat out a few words with difficulty. Halt dem chinuch atzmai. Hold chinuch atzmai. Those are his parting words to me. So Rav Aharon wasn't just an enormous leader of such proportions and what he took on, but he was a leader's leader, drawing other people into the battles that needed to be fought.